On today's Newsmakers, a miracle, Kirk Cameron's mission, and the immigration battle. That and more coming up. Welcome to Newsmakers, a show where we go behind the headlines each week to bring you interviews with your favorite pastors, entertainers, politicians, and other notable news figures. On today's Newsmakers, we're joined first by actor Kirk Cameron. He's here to preview his See You at the Library event, and he's also here to share why he believes many pastors and Christians could learn a lesson from President Donald Trump and prolific podcaster Joe Rogan. Let's welcome Kirk to the show. Kirk, appreciate you joining me today. Lots to talk about. You have your See You at the Library event coming up very soon. We're going to get into that. You've got an amazing podcast I want to talk about.
That's
Tell
right.
us about this podcast, why you did it, and where people can listen to it.
So thank you. I've got a brand new YouTube show. It's called The Kirk Cameron Show, and I get to do this together with my sons and my daughters. And this has been my dream for 20 years, is to have the Cam fam together and be able to talk about things unfiltered that often I don't get to talk about. You know, as a believer, I often, if I'm with a big organization, they don't want me to get into divisive, controversial issues, things that might be political, things that might cross denominational lines, or at least be so ecumenical that we can't talk about baby baptism. We don't want to talk about, you know, women in the pulpit or Bible versions or the age of the earth. But on the Kirk Cameron Show, you know, the gloves are off. It's unfiltered. I get to talk about the Diddy trial. I get to talk about Elon Musk and the spat with him and Trump, the Iran bombings, and everything in between. I get to have morning devotionals over coffee, straight out of the scriptures, and then dangerous conversations with my 22-year-old son about relationships and about purity, about mental health, and about cringy Christianity and what we do about it. So I love it. It's called The Kirk Cameron Show. I want everybody to go over and join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday for new episodes on my YouTube channel, which is The Kirk Cameron Show.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, it's cool to have your own space, but it's really unique because you're getting a chance to bring your kids in, like you were saying, and have this family conversation. I mean, what a cool opportunity as a dad and also as a public figure to be able to do that.
Well, you're absolutely reading my heart and my mind. And that is, how do I help my children stabilize and launch? How do we get our kids into orbit? How do we set up some kind of a legacy platform for our grandchildren so that they can continue to advance the kingdom of God? And you got me thinking about the third thing that we would discuss today, and that is the See You at the Library event, which is a legacy opportunity for parents and grandparents to set up a platform for their children to be able to advance a movement of faith, conviction, and truth. And I'm so excited about it. It's kind of the culmination to all those story time book readings that I have been doing over the last couple of years at public libraries. We are witnessing thousands of children coming together in the summertime on one day, and they're into story time, prayer time, and singing, declaring that the normative culture is about faith, hope, and love, not about drag queen story time. And this is very, very exciting. It's called See You at the Library. It's happening on August 16th in 50 states across the country, tens of thousands of people, and hundreds of story hours.
So people will be holding these story hours simultaneously on that day. Where will you be? Will you be at a library that day doing it as well?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly where I will be. We have some exciting partners that I think are going to be joining us on that day. But the important thing is for people to know that this isn't just about reading books. It's a chance for parents to win back the culture in the public square, because the other side is advancing their values every single day. And they're moving the needle. And if we don't lean in, if we don't show up and stand up for our values now, we won't have the freedom to live for them later. Ronald Reagan said, if we ever forget that we are one nation under God, we will become a nation gone under. So this is a great opportunity.
Well, and it feels like that is happening. I mean, you think about this event that you're holding, See You at the Library, how many, we'll talk about some of the numbers of what you expect and what you hope for this year, but parents seem to be, since COVID, showing up to school board meetings. They're more aware of what's being taught in public schools.
They're right.
Pushing back. You're watching schools shift and change. You also have had change at the political level that is even influencing some of that when it comes to women's sports and those sorts of things. How encouraged are you by the events that you're seeing, sort of the snowball effect over the last few years?
I think we're witnessing the mercy of God, the grace and the kindness of God. I think that the political shift with Trump being elected is not only helping political areas or economic areas. It's put wind in parents' sails and others who are now not afraid to speak up and say the obvious things, because we're watching somebody who's I don't know his spiritual standing before God. I don't look at him and say, oh wow, he's synonymous with Billy Graham or Chuck Swindoll or okay, right? So clearly, however, he's got the courage and the backbone to say what pastors should have been saying for decades, right? And now that he's able to do that, it reminds me of Cyrus in the Old Testament, where God is using somebody who's not even a believer as God's shepherd of his people to lead them in a direction. And I think that every pastor ought to just go like, oh my goodness, I'm being schooled by a real estate businessman mogul in the areas of courage and conviction about what he believes and feels is right. And he doesn't even have the theological training that I have, or responsibility over this flock. And guys like Joe Rogan and others are just demonstrating character qualities that should be possessed in spades by Christian men around the country. So I'm feeling the rumblings of courage and conviction underneath my feet. And I'm so excited about Riley Gaines and what's happening there. I'm so excited about what's happening with the economy and the borders. I'm so excited about all these things because I know God works it all together for good. And this is a window of opportunity for the family of faith to step up, to lean in, and respond the right way to God's kindness and his mercy.
Well, Kirk, I appreciate you taking the time and joining us today. As always, thank you so much.
Thanks, Billy. Have a great day.
You can find out more about Kirk's See You at the Library event at bravebooks.us. We'll be right back in just a moment with more Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers. Next up, Pastor Jason Noble joins us to reflect on John Smith, a teenager who fell through the ice in 2015, was underwater for 15 minutes, and was clinically dead for over an hour before miraculously coming back to life. The ordeal became the basis for the hit film Breakthrough. Let's welcome Jason to Newsmakers to share the incredible story. Well, Jason, it's always good to connect with you, and I have wanted for a long time, we've been friends, and I've known your story and John Smith's story for a very long time, as millions of other people around the country and the world do. But, some time has passed, and I love getting a chance to dive back in to this story and sort of learn what has happened since. Now, your story was told, obviously, and John's story in the film Breakthrough. And this happened in 2015 where John fell through the ice. It's a crazy story. For those who don't know, give us some of the back details.
Yeah, I mean, it is really one of the most, I really say it's a modern day Lazarus story when you look back and you see, so John, he was 15 years old, fell through the ice in St. Louis, was dead, was under for 15 minutes, dead for an hour and 15. And his mom walked in and she prayed, Holy Spirit, bring my son back to life. And a lot more animated and a lot more intense than that. And it was at that moment, every machine came back to life and John was back to life. And that was just the beginning, right? He coded 3 or 4 more times. I mean, just the incredible story of how God showed up in that situation. Wow. But what had happened is John was completely healed, walked out of the hospital 14 days later, and was no sign, cleared by all doctors 40 days after that. And he is now a 25-year-old young man. His birthday is actually today as we're recording this.
Oh, wow.
Yep, he has 2 children. And all of the stuff that we found out afterwards has just been amazing. When you see how God just puts a story like this together, and you just see how everything just falls right into line. It's one of the most incredible miracles I've ever seen and continues to be. Like, as I travel the world, I still hear people saying, man, breakthrough, like, touched my heart like I've never experienced before.
When you go back to that prayer that Joyce said over her son in that hospital, right? And you think about unbelief, if Joyce had no belief, if Joyce didn't say that prayer, if Joyce didn't step out in faith in that way, in that desperate moment and cry out to God, is it possible that John would not have lived, that he would not have come back, that those machines would not have turned back on?
100%. 100%. And I had met Joyce. The first time I met her, she was in my office, and she would tell you this story. So I have permission to tell you the story because she's told it everywhere we go. She was really partnering with control and really trying to control all the situations in her life, control everything that was going on. And she came in and broke, and this was like September. And I just called her. I said, listen, you can't control this stuff. You've got to stop partnering with control and let God just do what he's going to do, because like it's driving you insane. And I think even that conversation, if she would have walked in there and tried to control and tell God what to do, I mean, like at the end of the day, like it's amazing how God set her up to be ready to walk into that hospital. And I tell people all the time, it's a life or death situation. She had 1 second to decide whether she was going to fall apart in fear or rise up in faith. And if she would have fallen apart in fear as she walked into that hospital room, literally, I think John would have not been here today. And an interesting fact that John will tell you is that he was not serving the Lord when he went under the water. And so she was literally like fighting for her son's salvation. I mean, he would tell you that. It took him about 2 years after the fact to fully surrender his life to Jesus. And some people ask us, the question we always get, right, is, well, did you see heaven? Did you, John always says, people ask if I saw the golden arches. Now that's McDonald's anyways. But he said no. And we had prayed that. One of the things the Lord really put on our hearts is pray that he doesn't see or remember anything while he was underwater, because it was so traumatic. And he said he just saw darkness because that's where his heart was. And so really interesting. I will throw one thing in. When I studied faith, right? Because people will say, well, if I just had more faith, then maybe God would show up and do it for me or whatever. I think there's a difference between faith and belief, right? So they kind of come from the same bucket, but a lot of people spend time trying to build their faith. What did Jesus say to the disciples when the disciples said, well, could you give us more faith? Jesus said, no, all you need is the size of a mustard seed, but it's that belief. And it's interesting. Most of the New Testament miracles, they say, Jesus would say, you're healed because of your belief, not because of your faith, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And so what I always say is faith is like knowing where every gym is in town, and belief is like actually going to work out. Belief
I like that.
Building, right? Like you're holding on to God's promises. You're building your belief so that you can walk into a situation and believe that God is going to be who he said he was going to be.
Awesome. Well, as always, it was great catching up with you. Appreciate your time and taking us through this. This is an important topic, and we really do appreciate it.
100%. Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
What an amazing miracle story. As you know, miracles are still happening today. And if you want to see more stories like this, you can stream CBN's Investigating the Supernatural Miracles. We traveled the entire country documenting some of the most powerful miracle stories. You can watch the documentary at cbn.com/miracles. We'll be right back in just a moment with more Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers on the CBN News Channel. For our final segment, we are chatting with Pastor Ara Torosian. He is with Cornerstone West LA, and he claims that some of his congregants have been detained by ICE, and he shares with us what he has witnessed. Let's welcome him here to Newsmakers. Your church, Cornerstone Church in West LA, you've been in the headlines. You witnessed ICE detain members of your church. That is the way the story has gone. Let's just start there. Take us through what happened that landed you in the headlines.
Yeah, thank you, Billy, for inviting me. And I was on Sunday, worshiping last Sunday on 20, I don't know the date, but I forgot, 22nd. And then a family member of our church came to me and said, we have appointment tomorrow at Immigration Federal Building in downtown Los Angeles. Shall we go or not? As a pastor, myself, usually I teach them also constantly, like, you have to respect the law, you have to follow the rules and everything, and respect, and to be a good citizen from beginning of your arrival in US. So they had this mother, father, and also a 3 years old kid. So they went to downtown Los Angeles, and usually because they don't have anybody, I asked them, call first your lawyer and then call me. So the lawyer called me at 1:30 p.m. that they got detained in the immigration office. So I ran there, and there's a story you can read in my social media that I was very devastated to see. They got caught, and then they went to ICE room, and they took them. And the only things that I had to do is ask them if they can give the key, because they have a small dog, to save that dog. And then it was like very bad night, nightmares, what's happened, why they caught them. Like, they went to appointment. They are asylum seekers, Christian asylum seekers, and they have all paperwork, and they follow the rules. And so...
Can I ask you, can I pause really quick and ask you just two quick questions? What did they think the meeting was for? So they were going to meet with ICE. What did they think they were going to be meeting with them about?
Usually they go to kind of update their address, and that's a process of showing themselves in the office to see what they are doing, like updating and paperwork, following paperwork, and signature that they are here. So that's a regular for asylum seekers. They have the document, and they're waiting for the court day and follow up things.
The second question, how long have they been here in America?
They arrived, I think, in October 2024.
Okay. So under a year. And they came through, when they came to America, because just so we get all these little pieces out, when they came here, they went through the proper process of coming. So they,
of course,
legally.
Yeah, legally, they have documents, they were waiting, and some of them, they have work permit, social security number, and they're asylum seekers from Iran.
So when you were there, obviously you said it was a bad night. It was traumatizing for you watching all this. Were you able to ask any questions? Why are they being detained? Was there something that maybe you didn't know? Was there did something happen that precipitated or that caused this to happen?
Yeah, I was watching the news, following the news, what's happened, ICE in Los Angeles and detaining people. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, they're looking for, because usually when I heard is like undocumented criminal and other stuff, for me it was just shocked to see this beautiful people. The wife was activist in Iran because of the woman movement in Iran. Also, they were part of like underground church, and I was like shocked. Even we were planning to do a short film about women on Tuesday, next day, and we were ready to do it. And I had to call all the crew that this has happened. And no, I didn't. Like I said, like, this is regular. They're respecting the law and they're following the rules of asylum seekers process. And they were kind of pending status of U.S. citizenship or granted for asylum.
So where are they right now, as far as you know?
So after 2 days, I got notified in the system online that they send them with the kid, 3-year-old kid, to South Texas family facility, and close by San Antonio. And also I sent somebody to one of my American friends that fluent in Farsi to go there, pray for them, to take the Bible. And so they didn't allow him to see this family with the kid. And yeah, that's what I got a few calls from them that not pleasant over there, lots of crowded like And I asked them that, are your kid is separated or you're separated? They said, no, at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. we are together. After 8 p.m. The husband should separate it and go to men's part. So they were not really happy, the situation and crowd, and also the situation over there.
So as we just come to a close here, if you have people in front of you right now who are skeptical, who they've heard the story, they have compassion, but they're also feeling like, well, we have to uphold the law. If somebody came illegally, even if they went and got the paperwork after, they still came illegally. What would you say to them from your perspective to help convince them of what you've been saying? I just want to sort of put a bow on this and round it out, because I think it's again, you have two different sides to this, and it's an important distinction to give you a chance to maybe speak to those people.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday, mentioned the verse in Matthew chapter 23, that yes, we need to apply the law, and I'm with that, and respect the law, but with applying the law, we need to have some mercy. So mercy is very important, I think, as a Christian, as an American, and as a root and what this country a famous land of opportunity and freedom. I think we have to have a little bit mercy to people that are coming here. And I'm hoping this chaos in LA, chaos in everywhere, a little bit change, and our lawmaker to do something better, I think.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Billy.
We'll continue to cover this story as it unfolds, and we'll be right back in just a moment with more Newsmakers. That's all for Newsmakers. Thank you for watching, and be sure to head on over to the CBN News YouTube channel. That's where you'll find the full interviews you saw on today's episode. And again, be sure to check out Investigating the Supernatural Miracles. You can head on over to cbn.com/supernatural. We'll be back next week with another episode of the show. We'll see you then.